চরণে দেব হৃদয় খুলিয়া কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলিয়া চরণে ধরিয়া পাব কহিব প্রকাশে গোপনে তোমার সখা কত ভালোবাসে ভেবেছিল কোথা তুমি স্বর্গের দেবতা কেমনে তোমারে কব প্রণয়ের কথা কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলিয়া
I can't see my stop video. Mute my audio. আপনি আবিকে যাবে শুধাইছ আসে কেমনে প্রকাশে কব কত ভালোবাসে কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলিয়া তোমারও চরণে দিব হৃদয় খুলিয়া কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলিয়া
Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Sushmita, and Avik is with me, and I welcome you all to our little Zoom reception. That was Brian Heilman, who's our DJ for today, and he has his Instagram is Shunore, and he collects Bengali records and he plays them as a DJ. Brian, can you say hello? There you go.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Sushmita, for the invite.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Brian, and bringing the music, because this whole event, this whole book, this whole project is based on the music. So, all right, so a little bit about me. I'm an artist and a writer in Arlington, Virginia. And this is my studio. I am zooming in. I'm zooming in from my studio, Studio Pause. And behind me, you can see all the original artworks that are in this exhibit, along with all the mess of my studio. So I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of that. But of course, as Avik is in New York State, you know, we are doing this on Zoom. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to be sharing, sorry, just a sec. So I'm doing a lot of things today and I'm trying this out. Here we go, to be the tech support as well as everything else. All right. So this is our project that, can everybody see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is the launch of our project, Windblown Leaves and Emerging Roots. which is a handmade storybook. And I wanted to start with this Instagram post from so many years ago, to 2019. Just so you know where this is all coming from. Such a lovely surprise to have the lights and shadows in the gallery join in to make this image of a Japanese hand scroll with beautiful calligraphy at the Freer Sackler, which is now known as the Smithsonian's National Museum of Asian Art. Of course, at first I fought them, wanting to see just the scroll, the gradation in the ink, the gold in the old paper, but there was so much more. So this is a book, and I was trying to take a photograph, trying to just take a little bit of that beautiful Japanese calligraphy. And I just wanted to share this so you know why I am crazy about this kind of mark making or expressive calligraphy that I do. I will let Avik share the story of how we met.
Well, was this 2018 or 2019? I think it was 2018.
Oh my goodness.
So I was visiting Washington, D.C., and as I do when I visit Washington, I spent some time at the Smithsonian Museums, and I was just going through the Freer Gallery and enjoying their wonderful collection when I noticed there was a docent-led tour group. And I like to follow when there is a tour group like that with a docent leading and explaining things about the art that I might not notice otherwise. I tend to tag along and listen and try to learn what I can. So I did the same this time. I followed along with the group, and the person leading the group asked me if I wanted to join and become part of the group rather than be a straggler. Well, when I saw that on evidence were sketchbooks and pencils, and that it was expected that people draw, I cannot draw to save my life. I was a little bit hesitant, but then I saw that the artist who was leading this was very kind, very thoughtful, and really had a way to make the art accessible to and interesting to just about everybody in the group. So I did still follow along and really enjoyed the tour. And after that, the docent, who by now you have correctly surmised was Sushmita, she and I got to talking about art and different things, one thing and another. And I explained how I had for a number of years been trying to do these verse translations. And she mentioned some of the artwork she did, and that was the genesis of a conversation, which led to the booklet, to the art you are going to see.
Thank you. So that is how it all started. And let me go back to my presentation. Oh, yes. So what is, so when Avik sent me his translations, because he told me that he had been translating the poetry, but what he mentioned is a word called prosody, and I'd never heard that before. But he explained to me that that kind of a translation captures the melody or the musicality of the poetry or the songs of Tagore. And I was really curious because for me, Tagore's songs were an audio memory from my childhood because I did not read much Bangla. So when he shared this, he shared this document, this PDF with me, and he said, look at what you like and pick some poems you like and we can work on that, we can work on it. So I wanted to work with him right away because as I read his translations, I could right away remember the Bangla song. I don't know what this means. I don't know how to explain it, but that is how it was for me. So I just wanted to share with you, this is some things I was already doing at the time. I work with writing as script as art, or as I learned, on this journey, that it's called expressive calligraphy or expressive mark making. It's not necessarily for people who can read the script. It is not necessarily about reading the script. It is more about conveying the feeling of the rhythm of the script. So here I am working with water-soluble graphite. You see the little stick here. And this is English, Roman script. This is Devanagari. I'm writing a Bollywood song, a lyric, Andhiyon se dhagar rahi hai law meri. So that I've made it into an artwork. I'm working with acrylics here on canvas and on board and on yeah, this is on canvas. This is on board, I think. So again, I'm writing Devanagari. I'm writing songs, Bollywood songs that speak to me. And I'm just trying to think, there's a color that speaks. There's a lot of different things. There's layering. There's mixed media work. So this is what I'm working with at the time. And through all of this, I am guided by my friend, Marie-Louise Marino, and I'm going to stop the share here. So you can, so I can spotlight Lulu. That is what we call her. Sorry, spotlight, here, add spotlight. So the whole time with Lulu, I've been working for 10 years. And she and we discussed, so, this is Lulu. And you can
Hi,
see
everyone.
a line or two if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sharing earlier that this whole project with Sushmita and Avik has been really wonderful to see as friends of Sush, and how her evolution of mark making, and I do mark making. I mean, this is one of the points that brought us together. Asemic writing, written drawings, mark making, expressive calligraphy, and I think this project really has brought her expressive calligraphy to a realm that is just very exciting for me, because it connects really meaningfully to Avik's poems and Tagore. And it's been a long journey, and so I just have been really excited for both Sushmita and Avik to collaborate and come together in this very powerful way, including translation and poetry and song with Brian's music and art. So it's really sort of a powerful culmination. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you. And, Lulu's been through the whole time, and she would ask things like, where's that project? Where are you with that project? So it's been really incredible to discuss with her, like, what am I doing? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to write my songs from my childhood? Song that I heard a young Indian American artist, I follow him on Instagram, and I heard him sing, and I just wanted to write the lyrics, and I had the colors in my mind. So I just did it, and this is Murli ki ye dhun, or sound of your flute. But of course, with Avik's poetry and the Japanese calligraphy and these records, which Brian brought to my studio, he had exactly the record that I used to listen to when I was little. And then in my studio, I work a lot with Chinese ink. So I had the ink. I also had a cinnamon stick. So I will, but Avik said, but you're an artist. You must have paintings. Do you remember that, Avik? So I bring out my portfolio of my paintings, and I share them with Avik on Zoom, and he says, this one looks right. This one goes with this one. Or this one looks like monsoon, so put it with this one. And this is how I started images of my paintings that you see in my studio right now, and mixing them, doing the Bangla calligraphy, or testing it out. Do I remember it? How did it go? Copying it down, and working on it on these prints of my artworks on cotton rag paper. So it's really beautiful, because here is my painting. And my paintings are very 3D sometimes. And then here is the song that kind of goes with that painting. This one is really crazy. This one, I don't know if you can see it. But this is a palette paper print. So when we are painting, we mix our colors on a palette paper. And then at the end, there's paint left over on the palette paper. So I just make a print. I put it upside down, and I just run a roller over it. And all the leftover paint gets on my paper. And at some point I had made a yellow sailboat, you know, and then that was like, there's a poem, Shonar Tori, right? So it just seemed to kind of work. Here it is. This is, Lulu took these pictures. Lulu framed these artworks and hung them up while I was taking my daughter all this beautiful stuff. So, Avik, do you want to, oh, we have a couple more and then Avik will read. So again, here's to show you the original artworks. Here, this art painting has evolved since this photograph was taken. I've worked on it some more, so it looks different now. But that is the magic of our paintings. That, look at this. This is, doesn't have the Devanagari on it that I added later on, but it has the Bangla script on it. Okay. So we are on number 17. So this is what the book looks like right now. I will share that with you a little later. To Avik to read his translations.
Well, thank you very much all again for taking the time to be here. And there were so many people who encouraged me at different times during this, while I've been working on this for a number of years now. There are too many people to thank and to acknowledge. I hope I mention all of them in the acknowledgement page of this book. Many of them are here now, so let me move to here and try to read these out, some of them at least. It's a pity that I really cannot sing. I have no good singing voice and I'm not particularly good at reciting either, but I will try. So the first of these is one of my favorites. It's actually probably my favorite translation of all the ones that I have done. And I have started using this as the concluding slide, PowerPoint slide on scientific presentations these days. It goes, those quests once started, yet far from done, were not in vain, though scarce begun. The bud that flowers a few brief hours, the stream now vanished in the desert sun, not lost, not wasted was their run. The things that life left incomplete were not futile, I do repeat. All I postponed, all I disowned, provides chords for the divine lute. I know someday they will come to fruit.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So the second piece is a song. It's a very joyous, melodious, happy song. And I wish I could sing, but I cannot. So the best I can do is to try to hum. And if I forgive if it is not very good, I cannot sing, but I want to capture something about what the melody is like, which I've tried to preserve. Bright this dawn, fair shade and sun, play tag in fields of grain, I say, play tag in fields of grain. In skies azure, clouds blithe and pure, float by the rice-rich plain, I say, float by the rice-rich plain. Drunk on light, bees buzz around, mindless they were blossom-bound. Song and frolic all around, the river banks resound, I say, the river banks resound. A restless tide now swells inside, no more can I home abide. Heedless I my urges ride, to seize the world outside, I say, to seize the world outside. As foam from waves that break ashore, breeze bears joy to every door. Aimless shall my music soar, for all today and more, I say, for all today and more. It's interesting, it's fair to say I've been working on this project off and on for probably a couple of decades now. It was only maybe 8 or 10 years ago that something occurred to me about how to examine the structure of the Bengali language and the meter and try to migrate that into English in a systematic way. So the third piece is a poem which is widely studied, often studied, and often given to school children as a piece to analyze and expound on. Clouds growl and rumble, rain fills the sky. Alone on the riverbank, lightning strikes nigh. The stream's now a torrent, waves crashing high. Grains gold in the barn, the harvest is dry. Eddies rage round, banks fill to the brim. Sandbars are drowned, neath Neptune's sharp grin. As last sheaves get bound, the monsoon roars in. One empty field and I alone, water plays merrily, it looks at home. Ink dark the far bank under a dome of cloud at the dawning, the hamlet forlorn. Desolate is this bank, I am alone. Singing and oaring, a boatman pulls by. My eyes think they know him. I can't fathom why. In full sail he courses, fixed his gaze. Waves endless pound him, breaking in sprays. The tide laps his oar as in a game. My eyes think they know him. I can't mind his name. Who be you, and whither bound? To what far off land? Won't you stop and tie up by our humble strand? To whither you will, go yon. To whom you please, give on. But tarry a breath upon this stormy shore. Load golden rice at our hamlet's door. Load your boat full, as much as you seek. More? No thanks, I gave all I could eke. All that heart and all that mind could urge, a lifetime spent by the river's verge, awaits now the water's surge to bear it away. Pray may I board next, bid farewell this quay. No room, too small's the boat, your harvest so golden I'm barely afloat. Clouds cartwheel and caper, their playroom the sky. The dockside now empty, save hailstones and I. All that I treasured, all I could tote, gone down the tide in time's golden boat. The interpretation I was taught for what this song refers to is that people contribute whatever they contribute to society, to history, the work they do. It all gets carried away by time. It adds to humankind's legacy, but the person is often forgotten and nameless and remains unnoticed. Okay, so the next one is also a song. This one was inspired by Auld Lang Syne, and it was one of his earlier works, composed in 1885, which means it would have been not long after he had spent a few years in what was then Great Britain. Memories fond of days bygone, would you careless cast away? What held our gaze in life's shared days, a shame to now betray. Come back but once again, 1 hour our lives entwine. Let joys and tears, shared long past years, once more our minds align. We sought out flowers our early hours, the same tree was our swing, in whose cool soft shade our flutes once played, and lively did we sing. New cares mattered, we got scattered, new places, who knows where. If we meet anew, I welcome you, an hour again to share. The next one is a song. It's a song about the autumn season. It's supposed, which is in India, as many other places, it's a time for harvest rituals and celebration of gathering the harvest. This is an energetic song written almost for people to dance to. I sometimes wish, not sometimes, I often wish I had any kind of a singing voice. So, oh, autumn's calling out to you, come near, oh near, 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 near. Her baskets bulge with corn they do, here, oh here, 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 here. Charmed awake on breezes soft, meadow fairies flit aloft, golden sun rays molten streaming, earth's apron open, filled to brimming, with cheer, cheer, cheer. Oh, autumn's calling out to you, come near, near, near. Please the skies rejoice today, earth's voice has magic spoken. No one cares at home to stay. Throw the doors all open. Open, open, open. Throw the doors wide open. Smiles of light on dewdrops ripple. Ripe fruit and leaf, teasing tickle. Earth's heady passion, limits broken. Washes out anew, giving cheer, cheer, cheer. Oh, autumn's calling out to you. Come near, oh near, 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 near. I'm sorry, I've been told that if I try to sing, the effect is such that dogs and crows will start complaining at the noise. So
I don't think so at all. And I just wanted to add that there's a picture of me from when I was 6 years old in this book. And I put it in there because it was at that age that my cousin came to stay with us, and she is a famous singer now. And she taught us this song and she taught us the dance, because in growing up in Bombay, I did not know these things. We spoke Bangla at home, but I did not know all the songs and the dances. But when I read this translation of Avik's, I remembered the dance. We would do Posh to der dak diyeche ay re chole I. So I just remembered all that, and I found the photograph. So, very,
you know,
very powerful.
what's interesting is I looked at some prior efforts at translating Tagore, because given his eminence, there's been a lot of efforts to translate into English. The only translator I found who had previously been somewhat successful in doing translations that kept the melody and the prosody intact was a Scottish translator named William Radis. He met with an untimely and particularly horrible, unfortunate accident. But shortly before his accident, he gave a couple of lectures on things he discovered. He was a scholar of Indian languages, about how he went about doing the translations. And listening to his lectures, now 30 years after the fact, I discovered that we had both independently converged on some similar things about how the sounds in Bengali and English work differently. But let's see, now I'm going back to my PDF. Okay. Also meant to be a song. Let me see. The sun smiles out from her seat on the grim cloud's mighty knee. All rejoice, for in defeat the storms retreat weary. Today a holiday will be, so we the kids decree. Come one and all, let's go and play. Come see, oh see, do see. Can't imagine what we'll do. Lose our way and find it too. Make up games all fun and new and run the fields in glee. Come see, oh see, do see. A fleet of boats with leaves we'll make, each decked out in flowers, and sail them out upon the lake to float rocking for hours. With sheep and deer and flutes we'll roam, far away and free. Bathed in pollen, seek our home, neath jasmine canopy. Come one and all, let's go and play. Come see, oh see, do see.
Avik, there's a comment in the chat about an original poem in Bangla. Do you have the Bengali with you by any chance? Or do you know any by heart?
Let me see, out of these ones, which one do I know by heart? I should have known this question would come up. Let me go backwards. Okay, this one I probably know some of, the Poshto de Dak Dieche. So this is number 5, I believe. Poshto de Dak Dieche, ai re chute ai. Tar Dala je tar bhoreche aaj, paka foshole mori ai. That's the first 4 lines. I don't know too many of these by heart. I'm looking for something that for a piece I actually know completely by heart, or okay, let me look at number 2. Aaj dhaner khete roudro chhayay. That is song number 2. Write this down, fair shade and sun. আজ ধানের খেতে রৌদ্র ছায়ায় লুকোচুরি খেলা রে ভাই লুকোচুরি খেলা নীল আকাশে কে ভাসালে সাদা মেঘের ভেলা রে ভাই লুকোচুরি খেলা আজ ভ্রমর ভোলে মধু খেতে উড়ে বেড়ায় আলোয় মেতে আজ কিসের তরে নদীর চরে চোখাচোখির মেলা রে ভাই চোখাচোখির মেলা. So that's the entire first verse. The second verse, there are people more familiar with Tagore's corpus than me on this call. If somebody wants to jog my memory, please do so.
Yeah, just unmute yourself if you want to.
I am not going to sing, but I can probably
Jog my memory, please.
I can read them.
Okay.
ওরে যাবো না আজ ঘরে রে ভাই যাবো না আজ ঘরে ওরে আকাশ ভেঙে বাহিরকে আজ নেবো রে লুট করে যেন জোয়ার জলে ফেনার রাশি বাতাসে আজ ছুটছে হাসি আজ বিনা কাজে বাজিয়ে বাঁশি কাটবে সকল বেলা আজ ধানের খেতে রৌদ্র ছায়ায় কচুরি খেলা রে ভাই তু কচুরি খেলা. I am no singer, but I can provide you all the compositions.
Thank you, Professor Shengupta. The second verse was where it started was escaping my memory.
You see, in many Bengali homes, I don't know if you can see it. It is like a Bible. We carry it all the time. We keep it all the time. Whenever there is any birthday, any occasion, then basically there are people who can sing them. So that's
Professor, we couldn't see yours because your background was showing it, but I also grabbed my copy of Gita. Here it is.
Let me
And
twist
just- this
that,
is-
Brian. Thank you.
No, this is the full collection of Tagore's songs, and just for people who don't realize the volume, every page has even 5 or 6 songs on it, and the book is thousands of pages. This is how prolific he was as a writer of poems and songs.
altogether there are 2,175 songs
Hey.
Wow.
which give the tune.
So, Avik, you have a lot of work to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. I write about the Gita Bitan I grew up with as well in our essays. I had Avik and myself write an essay in the book because, why are we doing this? What is the story behind the story of our book? So that was very much very important for me as well. So
The reason I can tell you one of the reasons I am doing this is because I know having spent part of my adolescence and childhood in Bengal, I know the influence and the stature and just how Tagore's work permeates that culture. But when I look at most of the translations that I have seen into English, they do not capture the music, the prosody, the melody is not there. And that was what I set myself to capture, because it's one thing to do an literally accurate translation. It's quite another thing to try to capture what it sounds like. And that is something it took me about 10 years of trial and error before I sort of came up with a method of sorts.
awesome. I'm going to go back to the slides. Okay, so which one do you want to continue reading? We were at this one.
Okay, I am on, okay, because which
Whichever one I forgot. I think, Avik, you tell me and I'll go to that page. Tell me which one you're reading.
I was looking at number 8. Okay, I can start on number 7.
Have we done this already?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is again inspired by an old English song, Cecilia, which I believe goes back to Ben Jonson, who was contemporary of William Shakespeare. So this goes as, all so often I have thought my fears to set aside, and at your feet to lay my heart, opened bare and wide. holding you to softly whisper words that do express my secret hidden love for you, daring to confess. I thought so often of you as a goddess fair divine. How then could I dare to say that for you I pine? Also often I thought to hide from you far away, secretly to worship you alone each living day. None would know the love I bear or see my tears flow free. Mute, I grasp for words to share, since now you've come to me. This is a song I think, Brian, this is one I think you have a rendition of by Shagor Shen on one of your records, right?
Exactly. That's the one we heard. I played it as people were coming into the room.
I am not going to try to compete voice-wise with Shagor Shen, who was a very good singer. So you have that. And the last one, you have a glorious rendition by Konika Banerjee. And if you were to play that, that is as good, if not, that's as good a Bengali rendition as you can get.
Perfect.
So this one translates as the last number 8. Alas, my mind, while asleep you were, came your beloved, knocking gently at the door. Alas, my mind, while asleep you were. Footsteps parting broke your stupor, waking you to darkness deeper. Alas, my mind, so asleep you were. Out of sight his flute I hear, unseen roving, far and near. Now alone, all night on my shawl I toss and stir. Alas, my mind, so asleep you were. All unknowing did I wilful spurn, one for whom I aching yearn, one for whom I seek again all over. Alas, my mind, so asleep you were. And since the question was, since somebody requested that we hear a rendition in the original Bengali, Konika Banerjee's version is definitive.
So this is actually where I was going to do this earlier, but I'm going now instead, because it's a perfect segue, to show you my, let me just switch. Okay, to show you my, how I do the calligraphy. So I've just changed my screen. So you see my table. This is what the book looks like. If you've ordered a book, on each cover, I do the calligraphy. The whole idea is that the more I practice, the more I will get better at writing Bangla. I have used a Japanese stab binding for the book because, of course, all this happened in front of a scroll of Japanese poetry. Also, this paper I've ordered and I do the calligraphy on is very environment-friendly paper. It is, and I make this window where you can read the translation, a little bit of the translation. When you open it, inside it says 2 translated poems and six translated songs, found 9 paintings, which led to an expressive exploration of the Bangla script and so much more. And it says each cover is unique and has original art by Sushmita. So this is what the book opens to look like. This is our title page. I'm getting goosebumps. This has been so years in the making. This is Avik's essay. We have the list here of the songs and poems in this book because he is planning a second book. This is my essay, and that is a picture of me in my shari, ready to dance posh toder dak diyeche, that my Didi Bhai taught us. Here is me, a picture of me taken by Lulu, and this is a picture of Lulu taken by me. We've been talking about expressing ourselves through script, readable or unreadable. This is the album cover. This is how I met Brian. He comes to my studio and I tell him about he wants a space to practice music. I tell him, this is during the pandemic, I tell him about the LP that I used to listen to as a child. And he says, I know exactly which one. And he showed it to me on his Instagram. And that's how we became friends. And here are the pages. There was a question in the chat about the original Bangla, but we did not include those. We included the English, and I wrote a little bit of the Bangla. So if you've seen the video that we have on my website, when I shared a draft copy with my mom, she started reading the Bangla and singing the songs. So I knew my writing wasn't terribly bad. Okay, so I will do, and oh, I wanted to show you this. So I've got some orders for the book. So these are the covers. This is what I've been doing. Because my goal with this was to relearn the Bangla script. So just to give you an example, this is what I've been doing. And as Brian plays the next song, I will write it for you so you can see what I do in my studio, sitting here by myself. All right, Brian, take it away. I'm using a cinnamon stick.
This is the last song that I read. This is
তোর মনের মানুষ এলো দারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে তার চলে যাবার শব্দ শুনে ভাঙলো রে ঘুম ও তোর ভাঙলো রে ঘুম অন্ধকারে মন যখন জাগলি না রে তোর মনের মানুষ এলো দারে মন যখন জাগলি না রে আমার মন যখন জাগলে না রে মাটির পারে আঁচল পাতে একলা কাটে নিষেধ রাতে মাটির পারে আঁচল পাতে একলা কাটে নিষেধ রাতে তার বাঁশি বাজে আধার মাঝে বাঁশি বাজে আধার মাঝে দেখে না যে ওরে দেখে না যে চোখে তারে দেখে না যে চোখে তারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে তোর মনের মানুষ এলো দারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে ও আমার মন যখন জাগলে না রে ওরে তুই যাহারে দিলে ফাঁকে খুঁজে তারে পায় কে আঁকে তুই যাহারে দিলে ফাঁকে খুঁজে তারে পায় কে আঁকে এখন পথে ফিরে পাবে কিরে পথে ফিরে পাবে কিরে ঘরের বাহির ওরে ঘরের বাহির করলে যারে ঘরের বাহির করলে যারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে তোর মনের মানুষ এলো দারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে তার চলে যাবার শব্দ শুনে ভাঙলো রে ঘুম ও তোর ভাঙলো রে ঘুম অন্ধকারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে তোর মনের মানুষ এলো দারে মন যখন জাগলে না রে ও আমার মন যখন জাগলে না রে
Thank you so much, Brian, for that. So I'm happy I could show you a little bit of how I do this writing. It is really the rhythm, the memories, I'm using cinnamon sticks. So each mark, as I make one mark, I have to plan where I put the next one. So it's very intuitive. There is no right way to do it. And so having this wonderful guidance from Lulu, who studied this for so many years, much more than I have, watching me and telling me and talking like how the cinnamon stick decides how it falls on, how it lands on the paper and how much ink is released, or is it the tip of the stick, or is it the round of the stick? And as the first stroke happens, then I plan the next stroke, and then oops, the ink runs out. But this paper is a beautiful textured paper, and it leaves that like a dry brush that I love about working with brush and ink. So I'm glad I could share that with you, and to the original music that Brian is playing. So that is how this is so, that is so incredible for me. Okay, back to our slide. And this is our last song, isn't it? Avik, this is the last one. The next page is the notes page. Oh, yeah, this is the last.
That is accurate. I see a question in the chat about requesting Brian to play a song that was one of the ones we read. This one was the one he just played was the last one that I read.
Yes, right. Right. So let's look at the chat now. Let's see. I have a Chinese inkwell awake. If you need Chinese ink, I'll dig it out and make some for you. This is Huiting. I don't know if I said it right, Mao. Thank you so
Yes.
much for that. I think you should try this. You should try it. And I have cinnamon sticks. I can send it to you. I can send you some.
Oh, I have plenty of cinnamon sticks, so we're all set.
There's a reason I did not go into laboratory science. It is because I am the world's most clumsy person you will ever see.
You know, all I can say to that, Avik, is that if you are the clumsiest person, but there is something you find that you love terribly, you will be different. I promise you. All right. So what we do a lot at my studio is when we have a reception, when people are here, when they get a chance to look at the art, when they get a chance to listen to the artists, the creative people talking about their work, about their process, we know that a lot must be going on in your mind. I'm just seeing these amazing questions and comments in the chat. So what we do is we take a 10-minute writing pause. So I invite you, if you were here, I would have given you paper and pencil. We have little clipboards, all of that. But I want you to just take 10 minutes because this was a lot. And I'm going to put a timer. And if you have paper and pencil or your phone, just let's write. Let's reflect on how you feel and what you heard and saw. And, you know, oftentimes, Avik, I'll let you write too, and I will write too, because we artists or we creative people, we do our thing, but we might not often do it with, you know, have the response of an audience. So it changes how we think or feel. So I'm going to just put 10 minutes and Brian can continue playing the music, whatever. I know we found a few songs from this book that Brian has in his collection, but if you wanted to play the song that you first played or whatever you like, we can have that in the background while we write for 10 minutes. And then we will share. So.
কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলে আর তোমারও চরণে দেব হৃদয় খুলে আর কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলে আর চরণে ধরিয়া পাব কহিব প্রকাশে গোপনে তোমার সখা কত ভালোবাসি ভেবেছিল কোথা তুমি স্বর্গের দেবতা কেমনে তোমারে কব প্রণয়ের কথা কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলিয়া ভেবেছেন মনে মনে দূরে দূরে থাকে চির জন্ম সঙ্গপনে খুঁজিব একাকে কেহ জানিবে না তোর গভীর প্রণয় কেহ দেখিবে না মোর অশ্রুবারি আপনি আবিকে যাবে শুধাইছ আসে কেমনে প্রকাশে কব কত ভালোবাসে কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলে তোমারও চরণে দেব হৃদয় খুলে কতবার ভেবেছেন আপনা ভুলে
All right, I think that's good. We got 2 songs to write to. And now we will ask you to share. Would you like to share? If you're just finishing, I can read something that's added to the chat. Dave says, Cynthia and my thoughts and feelings, ephemeral, timeless, universal words, translations for all humanity to treasure. Artwork, perfect imagery for words. Avik and Sushmita are a perfect alignment of the stars. Thank you. And Julia Peckham adds, very nice artwork and poetry. Thanks for inviting us. Thank you. Would anybody else like to share? You can raise your hand physically or the. Okay, I'm going with Roald. If you can unmute and I'll spotlight. Thank you.
Well, I've written something, but
Okay.
not as nice as your handwriting, so I will read it. Thank you, Sushmita and Avik, for combining your art of translation and expressive mark making to bring us Tagore in our time. The world needs his reflective and measured optimism, and our gathering to hear and to see your art is also what we need. For the rest of the news is so dark that we just desperately need the coming together of people for 90 minutes of support of what we must not lose, and that is that human beings are inherently good and creative. Tagore knew it. Be well, Roald. So that's what this is.
Oh my God, your handwriting is beautiful too. I love it. You write with an ink pen. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is really, I couldn't write much because this is just so awesome. I see Hadar. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm a
so-
student of Dr. Chatterjee, and it's really a big honor to be here today. So I wrote that there's a powerful sense of nature in its mighty subtleness and humble sense, represented in the art materials, and the subject matter of the poem. Although I'm not from this culture, I found this work very relatable because nature can unite people. And I especially enjoyed the harvest song because of those repeating words that made it sound very joyous and exciting. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Siddharth. Sorry, I'm not doing this right, but I'll keep trying.
So my name is Sushmita Chatterjee, and I'm also I work at ESF. So as this program was unfolding, I wrote something which I would like to read to you. So Rabindranath Tagore is ever present in the soul of Bengali culture, just like the thought of the New England transcendentalists like Emerson, Whitman, and Thoreau permeate American culture, right? So as these poems of his, were being recited, it woke long, deep childhood memories of the countryside of Bengal. Like all great persons, Tagore is universal and local at the same time. Every line, whether in his poem, song, or novel, leads into an infinite directions of the inner human essence. Tagore does for the inner world what Marx writes in the case of the external. So Avik has done a very noble and stupendous job of translating these few poems over many years. I have told him earlier that this work of his, these prose translations, will outlive his scientific work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. I will ask Carl and Diane.
Thank you. This was absolutely wonderful. As I was sitting here looking out my window at the little drops of water on the leaves of the forsythia outside, it was just making me think about the musicality of nature and the sounds of all around you, and the musicality of the art and the art of musicality, really both subtle and obvious, shown through wonderfully in this work. And I really think it's fantastic. And I would echo what our previous speaker said, that I think it will outlast.
Thank you so much. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you.
I wanted to say,
yeah,
I love the combination of your artwork with Avik's translations of the poetry. It all matches very well.
Oh, thank you so much.
And
you know, I there and I'm working here, but there is something that we both feel it.
Yeah. And also as an artist, I like to play with a lot of different things. Sometimes I'm doing fabric art or yarn art or doing a drawing. And I'd never thought of using a cinnamon stick in artwork, but that has now inspired the thought of it would be fun to make a sculpture out of spice barks and nutmeg seeds, and cardamom pods, and you'd have a scratch and sniff sculpture. That might be something I might play with.
Absolutely. Actually, the cinnamon sticks were in my studio from another project in which I created a recipe book. I interviewed the local ethnically owned independent restaurants and created a recipe book, pages which people could then bind into a book. And I taught them you could bind it with a cinnamon stick or chopsticks or a little wooden spoon based on your preference. So that is an artistic choice. If that's the smallest thing you can do, you can choose what to bind it with. So I had all these cinnamon sticks, and Lulu does a lot of her expressive mark making with twigs and different implements. And she says, what happens if we change our typical tools? Everything changes. So
Yes.
I think that's why I had the cinnamon sticks lying around, and then I just dipped them in the ink to see what would happen. And oh my God, this is what happened. I'll invite Kalicia to go next. So Kalicia, you're on. Thank you, Carl and Diane.
Hi. Yes, I'm totally here for the scratch and sniff sculpture.
I know, that'll be so fun.
But yes, this was really beautiful. I was actually finishing up a sketch when I joined that I couldn't finish earlier. And like I had forgotten because I had to leave. And then while the video was playing of your doing the calligraphy, it's like, oh, it was just so beautiful. The work is so inspiring. And so I went back to my sketch to finish it. So when I was writing, it's like, okay, so I was actually finishing up the sketch that I started earlier. I'm so inspired by the art and the music. The brush script is especially beautiful to me. It made me want to add words to my sketches. The ability to bring your heritage into your art, into the art that you create, makes me absolutely jealous. I think it's magical. It's, it makes me wonder if that's what's missing from my work. It's great when you can connect to a part of you. It speaks volumes, but it's absolutely beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing it with all of us. That's it.
Wow, Kalicia, you hit on it. I think that is what I figured out. That is what took so long for my project, because I've been here 24 years. Avik has been here many years too. And who are we when we are here for so long? Are we from here? Are we from there? And, that is what I think just jumped out of me. I have to mention two of my calligraphy gurus are on this call. Lulu, of course, and Sugra. Sugra is also here, and having them and having you as another artist I know like my calligraphy and write wow in the chat was like, oh my goodness. But I think you are right. If you can connect with those parts of you, then it doesn't matter how good your Bangla is, or if your Bangla is ruined or whatever it is, it's just it is in us. So I think the artist's job, the creative person's job, is to keep searching for those things that are in us and keep bringing them out. So that is what we did. And I'm so thrilled that that's what helped you. And you do have Indian heritage, right? So we will talk about this. I am excited.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, come on. That heritage is a little eensy beensy bit, but
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's waiting to come out. If I don't know, whatever it is, we will work on that. That'll be fun. Thank you for sharing that. Arup Sengupta, you're next.
Yes, first of all, it is good to see Avik, after a long gap, and definitely Dr. Hoffman, that's wonderful. I'd like to add one thing. Maybe some people are aware of that, but still it's worth knowing, because this is all about Tagore. India became independent in 1947. And then Tagore passed away 6 years before that. India made one Tagore's poem song, a Bengali. It's national anthem. India is a secular, but it's predominantly Hindu country. 80% of the population are Hindus. 24 years later, Bangladesh became independent. It became Bangladesh from East Pakistan. Bangladesh is predominantly Muslim country. 90% of the population is Muslim. Bangladesh too made one of Tagore's songs as their national anthem. The national anthem of Sri Lanka, which is predominantly Buddhist country, not written by Tagore, but by one of his students in the institution which he founded, which is Shantiniketan. So that probably exemplifies that Tagore is not a Hindu or an Indian or whatever. He's truly a citizen of the world. He brings out goodness from everyone. And over here I live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Every year we try to organize. We have been doing that for many years. In fact, we asked Professor Hoffman to come here and give a lecture. That's called Rabindranath Tagore Distinguished Lecture. People from around the world have come and done that. And I also have a Tagore Foundation. Just one, and it was very for me, it was enlightening because I'm not an artist. I'm not a singer. So this is very good. But Avik and I were talking to each other for some time. I'll just add one element to the project you are doing and gradually unfolding. That's Avik has put the translation with some cadence and some rhymes, and then quite naturally, that's very important. Tagore songs have been sung in Hindi language to the same tune. I'd like you also to try, which I have been looking for some time, that finding a singer who will take Avik's translation and will sing Tagore songs in English, okay? And I'd like to create an album where Bengali, Hindi, and English go side by side, so that would be, it shouldn't be difficult. Tune is already there. The script is there, so you can give it a thought, I would love to kind of promote or be a facilitator for something like this. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it all the way, okay?
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
So actually, I did invite my cousin to this, but she's in Kolkata and it's not a time when people are awake. But she is a singer, a professional singer, Jobba Banerjee, and I have shared this idea with her if she would sing the English. And so I can connect you guys and you can speak with her and see if she'll do it, because her English is also, she speaks very good English as well. So that is something we had thought of. Anybody else have a hand up? Let me check. Anybody else want to share their writing? I can read something else from the chat. Huiting Mao wrote that, thank you for inviting me. It's such a beautiful experience. I was honored that Avik shared with me his translation over the years, which I enjoyed immensely. I'm so happy for Avik to find Sushmita and you two together having produced such beautiful works. Congratulations again. So that's beautiful. Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to share? I see it is strange for me to call all these Bengali men just by their first name, but Arup, you have your hand up. Did you want to say something else? No? Okay. All right, so let me see. Anybody else want to share what they wrote, or any comments or any questions for Avik or me or anything like that?
I would ask, Avik, you said you were thinking about a second volume.
Right.
Can you expound on that?
Yes, I admit that what I was doing during the 10 minutes was looking through the many other translations I've done for something short, brief, and different from everything we have heard today, to share just as a glimpse of what was some of the other pieces I've done.
Oh, that's really nice. Would you involve our dear artist here?
Sush, I would be happy to recite a very different looking narrative piece, a short one that I was digging through to see if there is 5 minutes, can I share something?
Absolutely, please
To
do.
do that, I would have to screen share.
Okay, so I'm going to allow you that. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, because I would like people to be able to read the text while I try to recite it. Now, this is a narrative poem. Tagore wrote a lot of ballads and story poems. This is a short one of the in that genre. It's titled Royal Justice or Rajbichar. I caught a thug the other night with clear evil on his mind, bound him quick, fast and tight, so your justice he might find. Give sentence swift, now I pray, meet and most fitting. Death was all did say, the wise and fearsome king. Runs in a herald breathless, panting, red. That peasant did indeed behead the thug who was your own heir. This very morn, right in the square. We caught and bound him right away. Give sentence swift, now we pray. Meet and most fitting. Release him, was all did say, the wise and fearsome king. There are several things I find interesting about this. One of them being that here there are several ways to interpret this poem that are left open in the original that I've tried to leave open here. Was the king secretly pleased and happy that one of his enemies, possible enemies, his heir who might have been plotting against him, was executed and removed from the picture this way? That certainly has happened in imperial dynasties. Did the king know the identity of the thug when he said, sentence this person to death right away in his first laconic sentence? There is a lot that is left unsaid and left up to the reader to complete the story as they choose.
Thanks, Avik, for sharing that.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you. Anybody else? There is another chat message in the chat, but LS, I'm sorry, I just see initials. Thank you so much for putting together such a wonderful work of art as well as this program. Absolutely amazing. I'm not an artistic person myself, and I'm always in awe of people who can do things like this. Avik, do you know this person's name? I'm so sorry. Is it Is? I'm not sure if I'm saying it.
Top of my head, I don't know.
Lee. Okay, thank you. Lee, I have Lee Newman. No, Lee S. Okay, I have a Lee Newman in the register, but thank you so much for sharing that, Lee. I wrote a little bit. I couldn't write much. I think I'm just too excited. This is strange because what an amazing event. Even as finishing this book took me a while and took a week longer to translate, but I'm not translating that much. I'm not doing that much work. This Zoom reception makes it all so heartwarming and joyous. The music, the discussion, the audience. Oh my God, to get this response from all my gurus as well. So, you know, I mean, if this won't get us started on the second project, I don't know what will. So just to let you know, Avik, this is very exciting.
Thank you, but I have to say, there is so much I can put into this because the translations are done. I would be very, very happy to continue with the second stage, but I cannot neglect my day job. And I say this with a smile because Professor Newman is my boss.
Oh, okay. That is awesome.
And one cannot look for a more supportive and thoughtful and generous and very good boss.
Awesome.
Fantastic head of the department.
Awesome. This is so wonderful. So wonderful to hear. So wonderful to hear and read all your comments, everybody who's here. Anybody else want to share? Any pausers? Anybody want to read? Did you write anything? I know y'all haven't seen the art, but if any of, so my studio is called Studio Pause. Brian wants to share something. Brian, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Finish, Sushmita. Go
Well,
ahead.
I was just saying that my studio, I call it Studio Pause, Pause, where I want the community, everyday people to make time to explore creativity and to celebrate the community we live in. And I believe that when we make time for that, we understand each other and we build a better community, more understanding of each other. And we change because we learn about other people and how they are creative and how they make that part of their life. So that is the work I do here. This is our 10th year, so we are very excited about our work. You can follow us. I'm going to on studiopause.com. And you can also order copies of this book from the website. And as I type this website, I will let Brian speak. I'm typing the website into the chat.
The only thing I wanted to offer is, just my place in all of this is as a student of the Bengali language and culture for, decades of my life. And so I'm very interested in translation from Bangla to English, and I've done my own hand at it. And so I think I came into this event most excited just to see the translations, meaning like that someone could, just the kind of like words of it, the linguistics of it, the keeping the meaning alive of it, and also, the idea that someone could achieve matching the melody seemed next to impossible. So Avik has done that, and I'm really, really impressed now that I get to see the words. But I guess like something also kind of I wouldn't have expected until just seeing the pictures and calligraphy next to each other. What happens with this particular project is like when you have the melody of the song in your head, which most Bengalis would, then you can read, even though it's literally just black and white words on a page, you can hear the thing as you're reading it. So there's music in the English words, and I think the felt calligraphy handwriting is a perfect match for that, because there's also just a real softness and humanness and music to the way that the hand moves. And so it makes a cool match, and there's something, it's just black and white and strokes on a page, but the music comes through in both of the media side by side. So, I mean, it's really, really fun. Thank you for letting me have a small role today.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
There's two things I just want to jump in and say, if that's all right. Quickly, to thank you all so much, very much for your time and for being here. And if I were to summarize two things that both Professor William Radis, who comes from a family of translators actually, who was a professor of Indian languages at Shantiniketan and is the only other person, the little bit I'm aware of, who has done rhythmic translations. Roughly 40 years or 30 years apart, we converged on the same things, though looking at his lectures that have been saved about what he did. The first thing to notice is that in English verse, very often iambic meter is natural to English. The Bengali language uses trochaic meter as the default. So there are relatively few major English poets who have worked in trochaic meter exclusively, Byron and Longfellow, also the Brownings. But it's a relatively rare usage in English, but that captures the sound, the way the syllables are ordered. The other thing that proved to be a real challenge, and this happened even when I looked at Hindi, but less so in Hindi, because Hindi is closer to Sanskrit, is if you go through a page of text and count the syllables, vowels and consonants, Bengali is incredibly rich in vowel sounds compared to a Germanic language, which English really is. So those are the two things that I had to steer around to try get sounds to work out.
Wow, that is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. We do a lot of translation, casual translation here at the studio, because we work with artists from all different cultures and languages. And Sugra is from Afghanistan, but she talks about her proverbs, her language, and she didn't know English when I met her, and I don't know Dari still. But we talk about poetry and how, and then sometimes I will say, is it this? And she'll just shake her head. It just doesn't feel right. And so we express, this is how we do translations. We just keep working with each other, offering each other things until it feels right, and then doing Google Translate or whatever. So we do that here, but in a very basic way, to just see that my words, can I have my words from my heritage, from my language? Can I explain it to you in some way, just as a person I work with? So we work with language. And I remember another friend who's a mentor in poetry. She's an Arabic poet from Iraq, and she ordered a book to read to me, an English translation from her favorite Arabic poet. And when I went to her house, she just waved the book and she said, "This is terrible. And I said, "What is so terrible?" And she said, in that poem, in this translation, they say hallway. It's not a hallway. It is a corridor. You walk down and then it curves. And so when you go curve, the light comes like this. And, there was so much more in her mind about her word that was not in the translation. So we have all kinds of books in the studio, all kinds of translations which people from the native culture don't like or are not comfortable with. So this whole thing about language, but having somebody to talk, to tell that, I didn't like this, it didn't sit right. I think that is also really important, to have that community. So all the acknowledgements that Avik has in his book is really incredible, because he has that community. He has lucky to have those people to discuss this with and work with and get advice from, just like I do with art. I'm just going to read a couple more things, I think, in the chat. You see, is there anything I've missed? Corey, thank you, Corey, for sharing. Corey wrote, "What a beautiful collaboration. Thank you for sharing your creative talents with us, Sush and Avik." Corey just taught this morning for our studio a Earth Day poetry workshop, and there were a whole bunch of young people in it, and she was teaching them about poetry and how to capture words that describe the earth and that it's describe nature. So, this is a continuation. Lulu says, "Such a fantastic collaboration, bringing together poetry, song, art, and heritage. Thank you, Sush and Avik. And thank you, Brian, for sharing the music and all that you said." Yeah, incredible. Wow. I am so glad we got to this point of having this Zoomception. In such busy schedules, everybody's world and work is so busy. But yes, what a thing we did today to just take a moment to experience this amazing thing. Avik, I'll let you give the last few words, because, yeah.
Well, thank you all very much for taking time out of your really busy schedules. This is a rather hectic time of year for almost everybody. And I am really overjoyed by all your positive and encouraging, thoughtful responses. Thank you all very, very much. Time permitting, I would definitely like to work on another booklet, another set with maybe 8 or 10, another set next time.
There's also a message in the chat from my husband who says we need to follow up meeting for Adda and recitation in a cafe in upstate somewhere. So Avik, we will check in with you on that. There's a message from Mark. "Thank you so much for a wonderful experience and congratulations to Sushmita and Avik." Thank you.
Thank you again. And if your path brings you all closer to upstate New York, we should definitely meet someplace in between. So or the next time I'm in DC, we can get together then.
Definitely.
Now that COVID is over, that's more likely.
Yes.
I should not say over. Abating. One should not say over. It's still there.
Yes. So that's it from us. Thank you, everyone. Again, if I missed, Nafisa's so excited to be here. Thank you for organizing this, Sushmita. Thank you, Nafisa. I'm just going through, what did I miss? Russell says, on a bus, on a field trip, seeing how this will work on this end. It is noisy here, but I hope you got to hear something. Colleen says, "I love those paintings." If you're in the DC region, you're most welcome to come and see the paintings in the studio. And the paintings are, of course, also in the book. So I've put the link here to order the book. One more new message. Again, congratulations. This is from Dave. Thank you. Congratulations on a superb work. Looking forward to meeting next time in person. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for everybody who came here. I tried to get to the chat and do all this. I'm proud of myself. Good job, Sush. I managed somehow. Any last words? Any last thoughts? Couple more minutes. Just unmute and speak. Anybody, if you want to.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Carl?
Yeah, just wonderful, and peace to everybody, you know.
I see Zhenya's here. Zhenya, next project, Cyrillic script. Da? I've been catching up on my Russian with another pauser. Oh,
I hope
there
you
it is!
don't forget it.
Brian! I had lent it to
Oh
Zhenya.
my God.
There's the album.
We're looking for that so long. I'm so glad there it is.
There
We
it
were
is. I'm
looking
going
and
to pin
looking.
you. Zhenya, can you just hold it up? So
Of
that
course,
is the
I will
album.
bring it back.
Postoder is on there. Postoder
Can you just
Daknete
hold
is on
the
that one.
cover
We
up?
missed it. Yeah.
Just can you hold it up one more time? I pinned you. There you go. So you can see on the front of my book, I kind of tried to get that cover with my art because that is the cover I grew up with and I loved so much. I'm pretty sure that cover made me want to be an artist or a graphic designer, whatever I did. Thank you, Zhenya. Thank you. And Brian, our thing is solved. Lulu, the studio you can't see. The studio has been turned upside down.
Looking for that.
I'm so happy to see it.
Zhenya is also a graphic designer and wanted to take a look at it.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Anybody?
Thanks, everybody.
That's it.
Thank
then.
you, everybody. This is really wonderful.
Oh, Nafisa said
Thank
this
you.
is so lovely. I need to practice reading and writing Bangla too. Yes, let's do it. By the way, Nafisa, because I know you're Bangladeshi, when I decided to learn to rewrite, I was looking for YouTube tutorials on the exact, because I write a lot of Devanagari. My strokes are a little Hindi-ish. So I wanted to get the actual rolling, what I call the rolling Bangla. And so the YouTube video I found, and I was listening and I was writing and I was watching. And then suddenly I heard the call to prayer, or the azan, as we say in India. And I realized the YouTube was from Bangladesh. And those people, and the people who were doing it, they just put everything down and the video was done. So it was funny because I was learning Bangla, but the YouTube was from there, and Avik is in New York, and the whole world and everything, all at once.
Listen, all of this transcends national boundaries and borders anyway, right? So
Yeah.
I think Avik spoke to that a little bit as he was explaining how Tagore's legacy resounds throughout South Asia. But thank you. I'm just inspired overall, and I'm going to find those YouTube videos.
Yep, they're pretty good. Thank you. All right, that's now finally it's 6:30, so that's it.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Wonderful. Thank you, Avik. Thank you, Sush. Thank you, Brian. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Oh,
Hey, Stush, I saved the chat for you. I'll send it over to you.
all right.
Yep, so you can see what everybody said and keep a record of it.
Oh, who said that? Who was?
This is Colleen.
Oh, okay, Colleen. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah,
sauce.
yeah. I saved it. I'll send it over to you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Well, thank you again. And I like the idea of having a second sequel. If you feel like, if you feel.
I totally do. And I think, I've come to a different place. It'll look a little different. I'm talking to Lulu about this. So it's very exciting. So thank you so much.
I like what this looks like very much. And
were you happy with the way the Zoom went? Did everything go well?
I thought it went very smoothly. I thought I was a bit nervous or what to expect, but I thought it went very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.
Okay.
So now I go back to the other stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I will send you a revised copy. Maybe we even drive upstate New York. The last time we drove up, so maybe, and I can bring you some, I don't know. We'll see, but this feels like it's moving forward. I just broke my printer though, my brand new printer. So I have to get a new one or something, and then I can
I would be honored to be the recipient of a revised copy with your
because it's the
with
final.
your
I've not given you
signature.
a final. Yeah, with
With
my
your autograph. I would really
I forgot to show that page, I guess, but this is what it looks like. This is how I do it. Each book is signed by me.
Is it too much for me to ask for one as the co-author?
No, I'm going to bring you some. That's what I just said, that I sent you a draft. I'll send you or bring you a couple copies of the final book.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Bye-bye.
You.